Hi, I'm Sarah from knittingand.com, and today I'm going to show you how to sew the line down the centre of the legs of a soft toy. I'll be showing you how to do this on a Betsy doll, which is the latest free sewing pattern on my website. There'll be a link to the free pattern in the video notes on YouTube. So if you're watching this embedded on a website, pop on over to YouTube and you'll find the link in the video notes. So here's my doll that I'm working on. You'll need a marker pen that disappears. You can get two types of pens, ones that you can sponge off the marks or ones that disappear under light exposure. I really like this brand pen. They will disappear under light if you don't use it very heavily, but if you have used it very heavily and find that it won't disappear, then you can dab it with some water with a cotton bud and it disappears almost immediately. You'll also need a needle and thread, and the thread you want to be quite strong. You can use a quilting thread, but if you don't have quilting thread in the right colour, I'll show you a few tips to stop your thread from breaking. To begin with, I've drawn a line down the centre of my doll's legs, on the front and also on the back. This line's probably going to disappear while I stitch, but it gives me a guide to go on. And if you're anything like me, the first time you draw it, it'll be in the wrong place, but that doesn't matter. I like to choose a thread that matches the legs. I find it gives a nice outline to the shoes if it's contrasting, but you can change colours if you want to. The needle that you choose needs to be quite long so that when you put it through the doll, you can find it on the other side. The stitching technique for this is quite simple. It's just running stitch up and then back, but I'm going to show you a few tricks so that you don't get little loops of thread when you come back. Start by anchoring your thread by doing 3 small stitches on top of each other at the base of the shoes. If you leave a little bit of thread hanging out, you can just cut that off later on, and that'll stop you pulling the thread all the way through when you make the first stitch. 1, 2, 3. So I've done the 3 stitches to anchor my thread. Now I want to do a running stitch up to the base of the skirt. You want your stitches to be about 1/16 of an inch or 3 millimeters long. You don't want to make them too long, they look a little bit messy. But if they're a bit long, don't worry about it too much, they'll be hidden in the shadows. So poke your needle through at the front, turn your doll over and just make sure that it comes out along the line that you've drawn on the back. Pinch your doll along the line down the centre. This is to stop your thread from breaking as you're stitching. And keep working a basic running stitch all the way up to the skirt. I'm just going to do that now, and then I'll come back and show you some tips for stitching back down again. Now I've reached the top of the shoes here, just 2 notes. 3 millimeters is 1/8 of an inch, not 1/16 of an inch. So your stitches should be 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters long. Also, once you get to the top of the shoes, if you want to stitch the shoes in a different colour to the legs, you can now just go back down the shoes. Or if you want, like me, and you want to use the same colour all the way up, go all the way up to the skirt. I've stitched all the way up to the bottom of my doll's skirt, and now I'm going to go back again. The trick to getting this to look neat is to not pull the stitches any tighter than you did when you went up. If you pull them too tight, the first row of stitches will make little loops and it'll look messy. So you want to do running stitch all the way back in the spaces that were left by the first row of stitches. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you how to fasten off the thread at the bottom. I've stitched all the way back down to the feet, and now to finish off I'm going to anchor the bottom of the thread with 3 little stitches, just as I did to start off. 1, 2, 3. I'll cut the thread, and also cut the thread where I started. And now I'm done.